Good morning, everyone. We're shifting things up today. Renata is usually the person introducing us, so it's me. It's good to change things. This is Patricia, very grateful human and very grateful to be on the planet at the same time my lovely friend here is on the planet, Renata. And we're here for week number 5, I think. Today's topic is energy and vibration. What is frequency? And what does it mean to us in our everyday lives? So, Renata, do you want to say a quick hello and introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Sending my heart's vibration to you this morning. Thanks for tuning in. I'm very excited to be here once again. And yeah, today's an exciting topic for me because it's something that I have been studying, researching, and practicing a long, long, long time. And so, Patricia, what is vibration? How about this, Patricia? I think it's really good. Like you are really good in describing in terms of like uh, frequency and vibration in terms of like Sanskrit. Like why didn't teacher training we talk about chanting? Why do we use Sanskrit words? What has to do with why these words have to do with vibration? Why do we practice chanting?
Boy, nothing like putting me right on the spot, right out of the starting gate.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot here.
Yeah. I think most people think of being human or existing in physical form as one dimensional. And in the Yoga Sutras or Yoga philosophy, Upanishads, even in, I want to say it's in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, the fact that we exist in many layers, from the external, the gross body, the physical body, the part that you can hug the people that you love, to pranamaya kosha, your breath body, to the fact that you have a mind. Your mind has an intellect. And then there's also another layer called anandamaya kosha, which is to be blissful, to be extremely, as the Sufis say, ecstatic with the love of God. So frequency gets affected by sound. If we're using sound, it can cut through sometimes what might be the prison of the mind. Frequency is also thought, right? The yogis knew that thought was powerful. And if your thoughts are astray and they're not good, you're going to suffer. Main problem of any addict or anybody who's suffering starts in their mind. It's what are they thinking? And I would just add then that that's why there's all these practices, that it is not, until you're aware, it isn't as easy as flipping a switch. Once you know, it's like once you're told something's not good for you, you can't pretend you don't know anymore that it's not good for you. So once you have the tools and the awareness, then we have the opportunity to switch our thoughts, which then inherently changes the frequency. And I'll just say one last thing on that about the word satsang, right? It implies, like the term defined literally means to sit down near the saints, right? Or Upanishad, to be near the people that are sharing similar thoughts. How important is that to keep our frequency high? Swami Satchitananda, who I still feel, it's so silly what I'm about to say, but I feel like, if you like rock and roll and you like Bruce Springsteen, I feel like having met Swami Satchitananda was like playing guitar with Bruce Springsteen. Anyway, he would always say, enjoy the play in your mind as it is the greatest moving picture show. Wow. Who needs the movies? Yeah. And he would also say, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, nothing good happens after 10 o'clock at night. Turn the television off, because what is going in, and I'll stop and let you talk. We are like cell towers. we are taking in whatever is coming at us, whether we know it or not. There's that amazing, amazing advertising ad that Dove Bar Soap did years ago. I don't know if you remember it or not, but as a mother of a female child, it was a little beautiful girl swinging on a swing. And all of a sudden she sees the bus go by with the woman, this voluptuous woman, and then the magazines with have a wheatgrass juice, but here's the low fat cake. And like, it was a 30 seconds of the image bombarding this little girl. And the tagline said, get to your female children before the media does. Meaning, I will end with this. The fifth limb, pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses from that frequency, not to go into denial. Yogis and yoginis should know what's happening politically. We should know what's going on in the world. But what are we going to do with that knowledge, and how are we going to filter it? So, boy, that was a long-winded answer to your question.
I appreciate it. And it's a great segue. You know, when I started to understand about the vibrational weight of sound and words, was really interesting for me, because to know that love has a certain vibration, and to know that hate has a certain vibration, to know that the word forgiveness has a certain vibration. And it was really greatly illustrated by, I always forget this Japanese photographer, scientist slash, that did this amazing work with water molecules. Do you remember this? And a few years ago, it was all over the subways, the pictures of the cellular picture of water, whether it was water that was preyed on, water that was present when people were having conflict, water that was from a sewage, or water that was from a church. And it shows the different pictures of the molecular level of the water. And from there, we understood that by infusing the water, because water is a conductor of energy, infusing the water with the vibration energy, you actually could change molecules. You can change molecules. So love, forgiveness, hope had this beautiful, almost like a snowflake kind of perfect pattern in the entire molecule of water. And, you know, the water that came from sewage, the water that came from people who were saying hatred on purpose, hatred words to it, had a muddy, not really a physical expression that was, or sometimes there was a physical expression. You can see sort of like a distortive presence of that energy, if you know what I mean. Like physically, you can see how it materialized in the frame of that molecule. And that was amazing, because it's like, we are 70% of water, so is the world. And to understand that our vibration affects that in that level, how else are we affecting by words, by thoughts? Because the truth is, like, it's what the understanding of that word creates in you, right? If I don't know what love sounds in Russian, they can tell me love, 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 love. I may not pick up on it. But yet, if the person who is saying love, love, love knows what that means, I may be able to pick on it because of the energy that they are carrying, right? So it's a universal language, it's a universal law, where we are living in a super vibration. Everywhere we go, any place we enter, any place we exit, we are in a different vibration. And as you said, acknowledging that you, nothing else, nobody else, have the responsibility to check in and see, how am I vibrating? Then we can change it. And it means also that it's not about the circumstances around you. Does that sound familiar? Like in terms of yoga practice, it's not about what's happening around you. It's about how you're carrying this energy. And the other thing that's very important is that frequencies attract each other. It's not really like they attract each other, but they look for each other so they can continue. Like, let's go to language again. I remember when I got here, I had no clue of English, right? I went to English school in Brazil and it's so different. Like, English class taught in Brazil was like, yellow, I don't know. So when I got here with the American accent, I was like, I don't know any of these words. I cannot make this up. So I remember being out on the street and I wanted to ask for information for somebody. And I kind of like was rehearsing in my head how to say the information. I don't remember how to ask. I don't know what it was, but I remember where it was near Central Park, and it was a lot of people. And as I'm like looking at the little paper, because I had written like some sentences that I could just like go back and read, I heard Portuguese. I heard somebody speaking Portuguese. I had no idea where it was, but I picked up and I went like, oh my God. And I started to look around, and I saw somebody that looked familiar, and I started to walk towards that. And then sure enough, they were Brazilians. I was like, oh, thank you so much. I'm lost. I don't know what to do, blah, blah. And so frequencies is kind of like that. Once you recognize that language, once you recognize that same flow, you kind of attract to it because you are the same. You just are the same. And this is law. It's law. There's nothing you can do about it. So if you are vibrating at a healing level, you can't help it but receive healing. Actually, you can help but see healing taking place everywhere. You start to see that happening everywhere around you. It validates the way you feel. The opposite is also true. When we are in a bad mood, you will see that things happens and seems like it's happened on purpose. And you actually say, oh, this light is just on purpose, Red. I'm late. Right? How many things we say? Like this morning, we were trying to get on and we were having hard time with the computer. First, I couldn't get on, and then Patricia couldn't hear me. And I was like, oh, ready. And then I remember I woke up 10 o'clock this morning. I usually wake up like 6:37. And so it was kind of off day. And I remember saying, I'm off today. I kind of off today. And I was like, I cannot possibly be off, because I am life itself. My perspective of myself is off. I need to turn away from that thought and realign with what is. So with, the premises of life, it's what you say. Be careful, or reach to your children before the media reach to them. Yeah, that Dove commercial. So what happens is, we live in a false premises that actions turn ourselves into worthy beings. Action equals self-worth. The more you do, the more you value. That's false. It's kind of backwards. When we think about, I want something, and when I get that thing, I feel good about myself, whatever that is. I did meditate today, or I bought a car today, or there's this new person of mine today. There's like, yay. But what we're really, really looking for with those actions, those accomplishments, is to feel good. We don't want a house because we're going to be glued to the walls and like, yay, a holiday, I got it. We just want to feel good at the house. We want to feel safe, right? We want to feel good with that new purse. It's that feeling. It's like the thinking about walking into the house. Is that thinking about, walking down the street with that purse. We want an amazing relationship, right? A partner. Is that feeling about like being immersed in love? Is that feeling that we're looking for? It's the feeling that we're looking for. And every search outside of us is the feeling that we're looking for. But we have a choice. We can go around and create all these actions to feel, or we can just feel it. Or we can just stop pushing away or stop thinking that in order for me to feel good, I have to attain something, materialize something, and feel good, because the feeling good, it's here. The premise is that we have to accomplish something. It's just I say this very often, it's just a permission slip. Okay, here you go, Patricia. Now I can feel good. Yay! And usually it's very short-lived, right? This temporary fix that's external. It's very short-lived because I have that purse, I walk around, I feel good. The next day, I feel good. The next day is like, okay, it's getting old. It's getting old. Oh, this purse kind of actually hurts my shoulder. I don't want that anymore. I want the next one because the yellow one is going to make me feel good. So you see, it's just like we keep chasing and chasing and chasing. And by the idea that anything can make us feel good, it makes us even further away from what we really want, which is work on feeling good. And now we think, how come I was not trained, or how come when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, nobody ever told me that? They told me if I study hard, I'm a good girl. They told me if I, dance really good in that rehearsal, I'm a good girl. They told me that if I show up with etiquette, I'm a good girl. They told me if I dress certain ways, I'm a good girl. Well, we kind of lost our ways. And it's not from this generation, right? But it's time for us to like revert, or not even reverse. Stop letting the flow of what it is. Stop resisting the flow of what it is. So Patricia, you had an interesting event happening this week. And you shared with me.
Oh,
And I
my,
want to tap into that because I think is related to what we're talking about.
okay.
So maybe
Yeah.
what happened to you? Tell me before the event. What was
Okay.
going on?
I live, I live on Long Island, so wherever anybody is on Long Island, there's a lot of cars. But for some reason, this past week or the last week, I witnessed a lot of car accidents, and I kept feeling like I would see the people on the side of the road and look at their, there were, it was an inconvenience, and I would see their faces and they're on their cell phones, and some of the accidents were looking like they were really bad. So I would pray when I would see an accident. And in my mind, I'm thinking, gosh, I wonder what it would be like during COVID, during this political unrest and all these other issues. It's a very stressful time right now. What must it be like to be standing on the side of the road after a car accident? Well, guess what happened the next day? I took a break from school, and the whole time I'm questioning. I took a break from school. I was going to take a walk where I always walk by my neighborhood. And I thought, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should just keep studying. There were so many signs that were saying, P, maybe you should just stay home. But I didn't, and that's okay. And sure enough, I wound up on the side of the road being the person on my cell phone, sitting on the curb with a car accident.
Well, thank God nothing major happened to you.
Yes,
Right?
and this kind of talk, I'm assuming for some might be challenging. It's not to say that I created the car accident.
No, you just found the same vibration that you were tuning into in that moment.
Right. A more simplistic version of that is Marianne Williamson's version, which I love. And I'm sure I've told whoever is listening, anybody who knows me probably heard the story 100 times. But Actually, since I have this in my hand, I'm going to use this as the visual. Hers was a tomato. Actually, I'll do Marianne Williamson's version. She was starting to learn about all of what we're talking about, the power of thought. And she had a meditation teacher that she would go to privately because she wanted to understand, just like Buddha wanted to understand the cause of suffering. So she would get like little homework assignments. And this time her teacher said, I want you to think about a vegetable. What do you mean think about a vegetable? Just in your mind, get a clear picture of a vegetable. I'll see you next week. So she's like, all right, that's my homework. Red tomato. She lives in LA. Anybody who's ever been to LA know there's always traffic on the LA freeway. So she's sitting in her car in traffic, and all of a sudden she looks up, and there it is, the tomato truck with a gigantic big red tomato on the truck in front of her, literally for 3 hours while she sat in traffic. She stared at the red tomato, and she exclaims when she tells the story, much better than me, never in my life did I feel simultaneously exhilarated and terrified at the same time, because it was the moment that she saw that in her thought life, she can create heaven and she can create hell.
And we are.
Which one even? Exactly. And also, I think to just insert, this does not mean that heaven means everything is okay. Heaven does not mean everything is the way you want it to be. Heaven means...
Or the other way around.
Correct. Like you said, yeah, you get the bag, then the bag is too heavy, right? So it goes back again, Renata, to the Sanskrit word santosha, which seems to come up a lot, which is to just, it's contentment with the way that things are. And can you be content? You know, we all have our own mantras, and I always disclose a lot about myself. I'm better, but I have not yet really adjusted to living alone since my daughter moved out. And it's been a while. It's been quite some time. It's probably 3 years. And my mantra a lot of the time, even Renata, you've heard me say it, I don't like eating dinner by myself. And I would prefer to dine with others. I feel like that's really what humans are supposed to do. It's break bread, right? But last night I saw myself. I made the most delicious soup in the world. And I changed my mantra. And I said, enjoy your alone time. Rather than, oh, I'm alone. I just flipped it. Savor this alone time. And it's like my dear friend always says to me, what is it you desire? If you want more love, be more loving. If you're lonely, then practice the opposite. So that's one very simplistic way to, I want to say, practice this. Watch it manifest in your own life. And it's happening all the time anyway, right? When you go into a restaurant, prior to COVID, when we were going to restaurants, I'm sure everybody listening has had this experience where you walk into a restaurant and you go, I don't know, this isn't the place. You get a feeling, I don't want to eat here. This is not. And then you go someplace else and you feel like you just sat down at your grandmother's table and you're like, oh, let's go here again. So It's happening for us. And as Renata and I have been throughout this series encouraging all of us to do, is to just hone in on your listening skills and trust it. It doesn't happen right away. It's a muscle that has to be exercised. And frequently we're wrong. But wrong, as Renata said earlier on, might just mean if the door is not opening, maybe it's not supposed to open.
Yeah, the thing is, like, life goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
Oh, yeah.
So does your to-do list. The to-do list goes on and on and on. And another deceiving perspective is that we're going to be done with that. Right? So here's what we are trained to do, or here's where we live a lot of the times. I have this amazing idea of a course for you, Patricia, and for everybody that's listening to this. You guys have to listen to this. It's something that is pulsating inside of me. I have to write this course. but I'm not feeling like it's feeling like grinding. I don't want to grind right now. But guess what? If I don't do it, there is that guilt that I should be doing. So if I carry this with me and I go hike or I go to the supermarket or I started to dance, there's this feeling that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. What I should really be doing is writing this course. But if I try to sit to write this course at this moment, it's not flowing because it's not feeling like it's the right time because it's not in the inspirational time. So either way, I'm doomed.
Yep.
I'm doomed because I'm not in alignment with what I'm supposed to, what I am. It's not even supposed to. There's no supposed to, right? So how do I break this cycle? I can break the cycle by saying, if I'm not doing, it's because I'm not doing. Because if that was what I meant to be doing, I knew with all my might, and I would sit myself down and I would have a joy of expressing this. We have not been taught to do that. We have deadlines, and we have to do something that against our being. So now, what happens when we relax? So can we do a quick practice for a moment?
Sure.
I want all of us to think about something very simple, not something huge, something very simple that you do, that you have done so many times that gives you pleasure. Yesterday, I was talking to a student of mine. She said, I love when I'm sitting and there's that hot coffee and I can smell the coffee right next to me. I don't know, it just makes me feel like present. So think about something like that. It doesn't have to be something big, but take a moment and close your eyes and just take yourself into that. Think about something that feels really good for you. And if you're not feeling really good right now with that thing, pick something else. Pick something that feels really good. If you're having a hard time picking something that feels really good, that means that you have to do more of what feels good for you. Like, see if you can identify one thing. And now I want you to bathe in this sensation, this feeling of what it feels like to be doing this thing that you're thinking. And now the practice here is to milk this feeling. And you can use words like, when I'm here, I feel easy. There's an easy feeling. When I'm here, the universe is abundant. There is an energy that's flowing through me. When I'm here, I'm comfortable. There is a sense of comfort. When I'm here, there's a sense of safety. There's a sense of creativity. There's a sense of relaxation. I get to release. When I'm here, I tend to smile more often. The smile is the recognition that life is forces within me and is holding me and is working through me. When I'm here, I acknowledge that all that is imperfect divine order. When I'm here, I'm not thinking about my problems. When I'm here, I'm expansive. When I'm here, I'm abundant. When I'm here, I love myself. When I'm here, I recognize who I am. In this space, I'm free. See what comes up for you when you are in this space that you really, really like. So then slowly come out of this. And then maybe you did have a really short experience of that feeling good place. Maybe it was hard for you to even pick something that you really love, and that kind of tells us where we have creating a lot of momentum in our lives, right? Because momentum is something that I've been exploring these days. One of my biggest teachers is Abraham Hicks. No wonder why my life is going so well. And it's going so well, not because I have no resistance, is because the resistance is showing me what I really need to align myself with. And so it's a win-win situation when I have something that's coming up for me, it's telling me, oh, you're not in alignment. So what is that that you really need to let go? And I let go. So in that moment, Patricia, I want to just a little bit of a feedback. Did you have a feeling of ease,
Mm.
at least a feeling of like of letting go of whatever it's the condition that we keep repeating in our mind?
I mean, yeah, I would say, first of all, a plug for Abraham Hicks and the brilliant work. Brilliant. And much of what we're talking about shows up in the Gita. And
In the Bible and in any scripture, because it's universal.
correct. So for me, my moment of joy happens when I wake up. I remember telling one of my students, I wake up with a smile on my face and I savor the smile till it gets really wide. And they were like, you wake up with a smile? I don't wake up with a smile on my face. So I felt so much gratitude for the fact that I wake up with a smile on my face, and I take a breath and I say, amen. And the yogis would call the morning the most sattvic time, the truest form of energy. And I get up very early, so probably it's just myself and Renata are awake at that time. So it's lovely because it's before anything has happened. And it's just like when a first coat of fresh fallen snow falls on the earth and there's no footprints and it's pure, it's white and beautiful and unadulterated. And I know enough now that that lasts, for about an hour, and then it's Rajas from 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock at night. So
You
I
create a
stay.
momentum, nonetheless. You create a momentum in the hour. It's the momentum of what you are, rather than the rajas that tells you like, no, you can't fly. No, you can't make miracles. No, life is as it is. No, you're going to have to struggle. No, you need to work hard to get new money. No, you need to, if you want to learn something, you have to feel uncomfortable. So there's all of that takes place and creates momentum. What you were saying about Marianne Williams, it just happened to me this week, and maybe Diana is gonna even watch this video, and she had no idea. I went out to have dinner with a couple of friends, and I'm doing a almost like a mentorship with Abraham Hicks, and this week was about momentum, 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 momentum. The story of momentum. So what Patricia just said, it's so true. In the night, all the thoughts loses the momentum because we're not in our conscious and we're not in our subconscious, we're unconscious. There's no momentum. That's why we can fly. And in your dream, you're not saying, hey, you can't fly. That's why we can do things in the dreams that we can't do in reality. It's because there's no consciousness saying that, you're not that, right? So when you wake up in the morning, it's like a brand new computer booting all the programs back up. And which program? The program from yesterday. And the program from yesterday was the program from the day before, and the program the day before was the day before. And if you're not aware, you're doing this for as long as you're alive. And chances are you're going to repeat today the same thing you did yesterday, and tomorrow the same you did today. And so in order to break this momentum of what you have created all these years, you have to do something different. So waking up with a smile, it's a way to say, my God, I am the receiver of this life. I am the receiver of one more day. I am the receiver of this breath. And we sometimes, think that we have to be abundant by showing our, I don't know, social status, our bank account, where we live, and all of this. But how abundant are we right now? And where is the abundance coming from? It's non-physical. It can be physical because then he's saying that is a fine line resort. So I went out to eat with Diane, and we sit down, and Elaine, we're sitting on the table, and next thing she goes like, guess what? my son is doing college in school and online, and I can't wait to get home to watch this teacher because he has like this amazing professor. And you know, I can hear his lessons. And this guy can just make so much impact in my son's life and in people's life. He's so inspirational the way he teaches. And this week was all about momentum. And I went like, oh, really? Tell me about it. And she started to talk about it. And I'm like, yeah, I got it. I see. And so it's crazy that it was not just a word that she threw it out. She spent 5-10 minutes talking about momentum to both of us. And I was like, incredible. It's incredible. It's not incredible, it's what is. It's law is there. Now, the other thing I wanted to say is this. I have noticed that people who understand this concept can really go far and beyond everything they ever dreamed. Actually, that's not true. They had to dream in order to create that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are in alignment with source in a sense of purpose, in a sense of doing the right thing. Because if you understand that you can vibrate in a certain way and you're going to attract more of that, you can just say, economy is great, unemployment is great, life is great, I'm the best, I'm the best, we are the best, we're always going to be the best. And guess what? That's what you're going to attract more. So you can actually live in your altered reality. We actually are, all of us are anyway, but in purpose, you can create this idea of yourself. And actually, that will create more of that, more of great things, great things, great things. But the work is to really unify with something that is really innate. It's inside of us because that gets to guide the purpose of the vibrational intent, right? So it's not so much like when you think about like Hitler, how a person like that could be get so much popularity. How? He had to know the law of attraction. He had to know how to manipulate vibration. Because if he wasn't a really bad vibrational space, he couldn't have accomplished as much as he could. So some people, what I'm saying is like in his mind, perhaps I haven't studied Hitler, but in his mind, perhaps he thought he was doing something really good for humanity. In his mind, he thought that that was the thing to do, and he was aligned with that thought. And things just started to kind of like, and you see the impact that he had in the world. And like him, you can see many, many, many others. The opposite is the other side is also true. How many people have impacted the human life with so much love and compassion and kindness and showing us the way using the same premises of aligning with this vibration and moving through life. So I hope like this is a long, actually it's in every single conversation we had so far. It's we're just repeating the same information, different day, different example. But this is where we live. And when you catch yourself going down the rabbit hole for whatever reason, you must understand that the service that you can give into the world, into your to your family, to your children, to your parents, whoever it is that you stay in a vibration that's creating peace, that's creating health, that's creating awareness. If we are in a place of disconnect, in a place of hatred, in a place of anger, divine cannot participate to that. It just doesn't. It's not in alignment. It's not what what it is. Not to say that the things that we do that goes against is not teaching us something, right? But if we could really run this law, this teaching, this understanding we will start to see, just as momentum came into my life, just as the red tomato came into Marianne's life, just as, I'm sorry to say, your car accident came to your life. If we have this understanding, we actually can make a huge transformation in the world by being responsible. Where are we aligning our energy with? And it's a training. It should have started when we were 2 years old. But here we are, 2 years old right now. And there is work for us to do. And it gets better as we create momentum in this practice. And the validation is there. And so if anybody wants to talk more about this, seriously, it's something that it's has created so much healing in my life. So much healing in my life. Just about 10 years ago, I was the kind of person that will look myself in the mirror and say, you are worth nothing. You know nothing. You are ugly. Nobody wants you. You don't know anything. You have nothing to offer. And that was my mantra for a long time. I was in a very bad marriage with myself first, and then with everything in my life. And so I had to learn, in the hard way. But we don't have to learn just in the hard way. We can learn through love. We can learn through releasing old limiting beliefs. And I hope that we do that as collective, Patricia. I think part of our journey is people we love that keeps reminding us. I can tell you that when I know that I'm going to talk to Patricia, I kind of become very accountable with the energy that I'm showing up with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a reminder not to just do here, to do, every day and all the time, but it really perks up my morning when I talk to you, So having this place to talk, having this kind of, collective experience, again, validation to where we are and people that can understand is very helpful. It's called coherence.
And I feel like almost always, like you just said, that we're always talking about the same thing basically every time, regardless of what the subject topic line is. But we seem to end also too with the fact that, as Renata just said, I need to be reminded of these things through the love of friends and people like you. And just one last side note on the car accident. I just said this morning, I went without a glitch. I got the rent-a-car, my insurance covered everything. I'm driving my rent-a-car home. I said to the person at the body shop and the rent-a-car place, I said, this was the best car accident I ever had. Like down to, I know it sounds so silly, but the man I hit was the nicest person on the planet. The police officer was the nicest person on the planet. The off-duty fire department guy who took his sweatshirt off and cut it into bits to tie my bumper back onto the front of my car so I could get home was the nicest human being. So
what you're saying is that you actually have a sense of like gratitude
yes,
for a
my
circumstance that otherwise everybody would say, "What are you, nuts?" Yeah. So it's amazing. It's just a shift.
Yep. Miracles, the shift in perception.
Yeah. Well, I hope you stay safe.
Yes, same. And Renata will be joining us. I guess maybe next time you'll be, should I say?
Yes. So because there is this flow of abundance in my life, I am doing what I love to do, which is traveling. And so next week I'll be actually going to be in the West. I'm going to be in Utah and then driving to California and then taking a flight to Hawaii, where I'm going to stay for about 2 months.
So it'll be fun to see you.
A nice background that's not like
yes.
this.
Yes. Amen.
Yes. And so
Amen.
thank you everybody for being here. This has been such a wonderful opportunity to be in front of you, and you know where to find us. And if you don't, just look below in the description. I'm always putting Patricia and my information there. We just have renewed another 4 week topics, weeks topics. So
Mhm.
this is the first one of the second series of 4. We have 3 more to go. And by that time, it's probably going to be like Thanksgiving and that time of the year that we get to work through like gratitude, santosha. It's such a good time of the year. And
Love it.
um,
Love it.
and then next year we have so many amazing plans, right, Patricia?
Yes,
So
very much looking forward to it.
stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Okay, love you all.
Thank you so much. Love you
See you
guys.
soon.
See you next time.
Bye bye.